Thank you for doing that. Well, hello, folks. My name is Adrian Rand. I'm the president of the Oak Park Neighborhood Association. I just put the agenda in the chat for our monthly Oak Park Neighborhood meeting, our June meeting, that is. We're going to be talking about housing. And we actually have, looks like, oh yeah, he's with us, Mr. Marcus Adams with the City of Sacramento, who is an expert on all things housing construction, housing planning, housing policy. And we want to just learn about the latest and the greatest that's been going on in that realm. But also, as always, do some introductions, get to know one another, and share any big announcements that we have about goings on, neighborhood news, upcoming events, and more. And then if folks have other concerns they'd like to elevate, you know, there's been a lot going on in the neighborhood, and we always want to hold space for that. This meeting is being held remotely. We've been going back, I'm looking at the rest of the board. We've been going back and forth for a little bit about, hey, do we want to go back to in person yet? Do we want to, I see Dimitri nodding. Do we want to go back to the Oak Park Community Center? And I think many of us do, but COVID's still out there. It is very much still out there. I had it at the beginning. I had it less than a month ago. So it's still very real. So we're still struggling a little bit with that, but we're excited to go back to the community center soon, I'll say. So do we want to do a round robin of intros? All right, resounding yes. Let's just go in order on my screen, starting with Barbara. Just share who you are and maybe where, what part of the neighborhood you're coming to us from.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Barbara Steinberg. I live in Talek Village off of 21st Avenue. And among other things, I'm the neighborhood advocate for the Stockton Boulevard Partnership. I'm on their executive board trying to represent issues in all of the neighborhoods off and on Stockton Boulevard. And I split my time between here and Chico, but I'm still very present. I'm glad to be here tonight. Thank you.
Great. Let's go to Mr. Michael Blair.
Hey everybody, Michael Blair, board member, and I'm located kind of in the south part of Oak Park by Fruit Ridge Community Collaborative, and been here, I would say 20 years, so it's somewhere around there, 18 to 20 years, something like that. So glad to be here. Good to see everybody.
Great. And Mr. Eric Fay.
Hello. My wife and I live in Curtis Park on 10th Avenue, very close to Oak Park. And, you know, hello, everybody. And nothing great to announce.
Great, thank you. It's great to have our neighbors from across the boulevard and the highway with us today. I see we have another one, Francesca. Welcome.
Yes, hello. I live in Elmhurst, my husband and I'm in the Elmhurst Neighborhood Association board. And nothing big to announce. We did put this on Nextdoor because plenty of people are interested in housing, and Oak Park usually has some interesting presentations. So I thank you guys for having this meeting.
Thank you. Dimitri.
Hey guys, Dimitri with Cap City. We're right on the corner of Broadway and MLK.
Thanks. Local business. Kathy Less.
Hi, yeah, I'm Kathy Less. I'm on the board of the Sierra Curtis Neighborhood Association in Curtis Park, and Eric neglected to mention that he's also one of our board members. I know he's been attending your meetings occasionally. I've been meaning to come, so I'm excited to be here. And in particular, I know you were going to be talking about your Electric Stars program, so I wanted to hear what you had to say about that and go from there.
Hey, Rosie.
Hi everyone, Rosie Ramos, OPNA board member, secretary.
Rosie. Robert.
Hi, I'm Robert. I'm a 32-year resident of Oak Park, and I live near 36th and Y.
Aziza.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Aziza. I'm a board member of the OPNA. I live in Curtis Park, but I've lived in the area of Oak Park for almost 15 years or so. And I don't have any exciting news other than my beautiful grandbaby. She's 4 months old. She's everything. She's my whole heart. And I love her so much. And so other than that, that's the greatest news I could share. And I'm also a business owner.
Yeah, and what's the name of your business?
My business is Philo, and I sell like shea butter products, handmade lotions, and everything is just curated to be sensitive for sensitive skin, and it's just really an amazing product. So yeah.
Philo Naturals. It'll turn you back 10 years.
Exactly.
All right. Crystal Smith.
Hello, everyone. This is Crystal Smith. I'm the president and CEO of NeighborWorks, located in Oak Park. We own and we operate the Oak Park Farmers Market. And so I have myself and some of my team members here with me.
Thank you, Crystal. And Dave Brown.
Hi there. I'm a board member with Oak Park Neighborhood Association. I live in North Oak Park. I've been here since 2011.
Thank you. Chris Mcdill.
Good evening, everyone. Chris Mcdill, Director of Planning and Construction Management with the University of the Pacific. I manage all real property asset interest for our three city university in Sacramento, Stockton, and San Francisco. I also proudly sit on the Oak Park Business Association and glad to be with you this evening.
Thank you. And then we have Marcus Adams, who's going to be our special guest from the city of Sacramento. Where are you coming to us from, Marcus?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. So yeah, Marcus Adams, Senior Planner, City of Sacramento, and I supervise all projects in the South Sacramento geographic area, which of course encompasses Oak Park and Curtis Park and most of the areas that's here tonight. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I see Mike B.
Michael Benjamin, Oak Park Neighborhood Association board member, born and raised in Oak Park. So, yeah.
Mike. And I see Orion with us.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Ryan Johnson, homeowner here in Oak Park for about 4 years on 7th Avenue. My wife is also a business owner here in Oak Park. She's one of the local estheticians in the area, working at Evergreen Salon. So yeah, we're just here to kind of catch up on everything and mainly hear about the construction stuff going on tonight.
Hey, thanks. And Lisa.
Hi, my name's Lisa Twardos and I live in Tahoe Park, and I'm also the chair of the fundraising events and marketing group for Tahoe Park Neighborhood Association. So if you've seen flyers on your Facebook pages about our food truck events or our second Saturday concerts in the park for kids, that's me posting them. And come over and join us.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite. I have Allegra next.
It's Allegra Taylor, founder and CEO of the Village Advocates. I'm also your in-kind host with Farmers Market at Mcclatchy on Sundays. Come on out and join us this Sunday. We're doing tie-dye.
Allegra. Loretta. I see Loretta Casimir Mahoney, I believe.
Hi, this is Loretta Casimir Mahoney. I am the board president for NeighborWorks Sacramento. I'm also a homeowner in the Oak Park area and a business owner. I've been a mortgage broker for 23 years. Happy to be here.
Loretta. We have Jasleen from Office of Councilmember Deschenier.
Thanks for the intro, Adrian. My name is Jasleen Escobar. I am a council representative for Councilmember Chenier. So I do have a couple of things to go over with you guys at the end. So Adrian, just don't let me forget.
Try not to. Thank you. Balele.
Oh, what's going on, OPNA? My name is Balele Shoka. I live in Curtis Park. Just a concerned citizen, and I'd like to stay up on what's going on. Sac High graduate 91.
On, thanks. Kim
Yeah.
So.
Hi, I'm Kimberly So. I'm also a city council candidate for District 5. I've lived in Oak Park for about 8 years. I'm over on 10th Avenue. Happy to be here tonight, see some familiar faces, and thanks for the invite.
Thank you. Looks like we have several of you who are on the call tonight who are vying for Council District 5. So welcome all of you. And actually, Bishop Chris Baker is next on my list.
Good evening, everybody. Excuse me. Bishop Chris Baker here, living South Sacramento, also a candidate for District 5, and just wanting to get to know more about Oak Park. I'm familiar with it. And also, Adrian, the project y'all gonna be talking about on 33rd right there, 12th and 33rd. I've invited the project manager. I know the contractor very well. So if he doesn't chime in, he authorized me to take notes for him and kind of answer some questions. I told him if he gets here, because he's in Madeira at another property, if he can be able to chime in, go ahead.
Yeah, appreciate you doing that. That's awesome. Alana's iPhone.
Hi, good evening. Alana Golden. I was raised in Oak Park. My mom still lives there, and I heard somebody give a shout out for Sac High. So Sac High class of 83. It's nice to be here.
He's got you beat, Belele.
Yeah.
Let's go to Miguel. Miguel Barraza, you with us? Well, Miguel's out and about. I always see him out and about on 34th and elsewhere. So welcome. Thanks for being here. Stephanie Thompson.
Well, I'm Stephanie Thompson. I'm with the Community Wellness Forum. I serve in Oak Park. I do have something to share with you. We will be having our Harvest and Health Festival on October the 22nd. So go ahead and mark that on your calendars. I'll be reaching out to quite a few of you here on this call because we'll need vendors. But that's who I am, Stephanie Thompson.
What was the date again, Stephanie?
October the 22nd. And it's going to be from 11 o'clock a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. Oh, one more thing I will share is that we will be out at the Juneteenth festival on the 17th of June. We'll be having information on cancer for the Black male, actually. So stop by our booth and see us.
Great, thank you. Let's go to Mary Ponder.
Hi, this is Mary Ponder. I'm from the River Oak Center for Children, and I have one announcement is that our health fair is coming up June 24th from 11 to 1, I think 11 to 2, 11 to 1:30. So if anyone is interested in participating, please contact River Oak Center for Children. It's on 44th Street. If you would like to participate with us that day, and please get the word out because it's at Curtis Park. So all those that are in Curtis Park, please get the word out that we're going to be there on the 24th. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary, and thanks for the update, Miguel. Tamiko.
Hi, I'm Tamiko Heim. I am board member of North City Farms and active transportation commissioner for District 5, and also a candidate for city council. But I can't let you guys shout out Sac High without saying I am Hiram Johnson, main campus class of 97. So thank you.
Healthy competition in here on multiple
shaking
levels.
my head, shaking my head.
Go to Caesar.
Hi, my name is Cesar Dennis. I'm with UC Davis Health in the Office of Health Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, and just looking to learn more about the Oak Park Neighborhood Association.
Thanks. Jennifer Holden.
Here I am, just a sec. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jennifer Holden, and I am the lead for the Mengen Park Neighborhood Association, which is to your southwest. So we're in between 99 and Highway 5, just south of Fruit Ridge. And we're in District 5, and I'm very happy to be joining everybody tonight. Thanks for inviting me.
Sure. Isabel.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Isabel. I live in Oak Park off of 7th and 42nd Street. And I work with Adrian at Valley Vision.
Yay, thanks, Isabel. Katie Maple, we have all four D5 candidates on the call. How cool is that? Katie.
Hi, Katie Maple, former OPNA board member, Oak Park resident, and candidate for Sacramento City Council. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And then Dorothy. Dorothy. All right, we'll skip you for now. Danny Rayos. All right, Danny. And then last but not least, a number ending in 7331. Phone number.
Hello, it's Shandina Piper, the Director of Community Impact at NeighborWorks Sacramento. Would like to personally invite each of the attendees to our Oak Park Farmers Market every Sunday from 9 to 1 p.m. Bring your children, invite your neighbors, and come out and celebrate with the community and the vendors. And wanted to also announce that we have some returning vendors coming back from the recent markets, as well as we have some new producers this week. So we look forward to your support. Thank you. Thanks, Shandina. Wonderful. Well, I think that's everybody. So welcome, and really excited to jump into our housing conversation. I think, I don't know if any of the OPNA board members would like to speak on the topic. I'm looking at Mike B potentially. I know he's been a big advocate in this area. Michael Blair as well. But maybe I'll just contextualize that there's a lot of construction going on in Oak Park of duplexes and larger buildings. And I know a few folks in the neighborhood have actually posted to our Facebook page and sent us emails and let us know about just some concerns that they have about some of the construction going on, and actually took a couple of pictures and would love to just kind of hear from Mr. Marcus with the city about what the current rules are around how close buildings can be to public right of way, like a sidewalk. And I just have a couple of pictures and then I'll throw it over to Marcus. But I know, and I appreciate that Chris Brown got in touch with the developer on this one, but 3301 33rd is it's the building at the corner of 12th Ave and 33rd that's going up, and at driving by, it looks like it's real close. Potentially a safety issue in terms of how close that thing is to the public right of way. And we just wanted to learn a little bit more about kind of what the new standards are in terms of building. And then I believe I have one other photo to share, which is around the corner from where I live, 39th and Broadway. There's actually a bus stop that was built behind the fence because this building's so close to the sidewalk there. So we're just kind of curious about all that's going on in the construction realm in our neighborhood, and just learning what the current rules are. And I'm sure others in other neighborhoods are kind of interested in that too. So Marcus, really appreciate you making the time to be with us today. And feel free to share some slides or information and take it away. And we'll ask some questions. Either would you like us to ask questions throughout or afterward?
No, why don't we do it afterward? I'll gonna share some images and just give a brief overview, but I'll leave plenty of time for questions. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. It's good to be here. I'm going to start by, I'll just share my screen.
I want to welcome a couple others who joined us, Henry and board member Gracie. So thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
All right. So is everybody seeing my screen on your screens?
See your desktop.
Yeah, great. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. So, wow, what do we have here? So I just wanted to actually start off by, being here tonight's great. I was worried that you guys might cancel the meeting since tonight is game one of the NBA finals, but here we are. So I'm recording the game, so I just want to put this up here. No spoilers for me, please. So just want to just make that
Go
known.
Warriors.
Okay, see what I mean?
Go
Okay.
Celtics.
There we go. All right. So I wanted to start off here with the building here that Adrian was just talking about on 33rd and 12th. Give a little overview of how things happen. So what happens when the developer or the applicant, is usually one and the same, the developer and the applicant submit something, it all starts in planning. A lot of times we'll have a pre-application meeting where they'll present the project to me. I will then meet with the other applicable departments and we'll go over the plans. These are usually their draft plans. In this case, these were the plans that were approved, but they'll go over the draft plans and we try to catch any, red flags and let them know about that right away. Even though they may be plans, that way they can make any corrections before they submit formally. So that's how the process normally starts. Then they submit their formal plans. In the planning division, we route those to the different departments, public works, fire, air quality, all the different departments. They review the plans, give us back the comments. We give those comments then back to the applicant, who gives them to the engineer and the developer. They make their corrections, resubmit them. Usually it's maybe 1 or 2 cycles. Then the plans are approved. They should meet all applicable codes for each department. And then they go on to the building permit phase. So there's kind of the chances that we get to make sure that they're complying with the regulations are both if they choose to do a pre-application meeting there, and then during the formal planning and review stage. Then during the building permit stage 2, that's when all the departments then looked at the construction plans and then make sure once again that they comply with what we've approved in planning. Here is a picture of the site plan. And you see here with the site plan, you can see my cursor, that the building was very close to the back of the sidewalk here on the radius here at the corner. We have what we call a site triangle. And the site triangle, I don't know the exact dimensions, but it approximately, and it can vary too, but we look at what we want to do is to make sure that the line of sight at a corner deep enough to where it's not going to conflict with any traffic, oncoming traffic. The situation here, and for those of you who do know me, I'm a straight shooter, so I just good or bad, I just kind of tell it how it is. And I'd have to say in this case, the site triangles, it was not on the plans, and I think that's why. I know that's why we did not. This building is closer to the back of the sidewalk than we would have wanted it to be. And one thing that was missing on these plans is we did not have what we call the limit line, which let me see, I'll get to that here. Do this. So on those plans, we didn't have, this is the limit line here. And this is where you're actually supposed to stop before you go out and make a turn. And then you have the crosswalk. None of this was on there. And that's why we had the building as close as it is, because we figured, Public Works figured that the line of sight would be okay because they didn't see this. So that's how that happened. You can have a building. So the zoning here, getting to Adrian's question about as far as what are the rules, what are the standards, this is zone general commercial C2. And so for commercial buildings, we typically like having the building close to the sidewalk. We rather have that than have a parking lot there. We feel that it's, to use the language that we do, it activates the street, it activates the corner. It tends to produce more pedestrian activity that way. But obviously we don't want it so close that you have this line of sight. And I have to say, when it was brought to my attention about this, this project actually was constructed or was approved right before I started, right around when I started with the city, around 2018. So by the time I had found out about this, they had already started the construction. In fact, this is a picture from when myself and Michael Benjamin went to the site and took a look at it. Let me go back to, here's another picture of Public Works was really concentrating a lot. There was a lot of back and forth about the alley access here. And so I know that they had paid a lot of back and forth with this. And I think that's another reason why maybe on the plans, they did not catch that the plan architect or engineer did not include the limit line in the crosswalk there. So now the question, I guess, is what can we do about that, since that's something that was missed? Obviously, at this point, we can't ask the developer to tear down the building and move it back some. If it was still in plan check, we could look at maybe changing these lines so that you can have, you can move this up some. But at this point, it's beyond that. So I've spoken with Public Works multiple times, and they have agreed that a no right turn on red sign is something that can be put up here. Can't see it here on here. Let me see if I go to this. Yeah, so you'll have a no right turn on red sign. So the cars coming here on 33rd won't be able to make that right on red. And we feel that will, it's not obviously not the best solution that we can do, but it's probably the solution that we can do that wouldn't be drastic as far as, once again, asking to do something with the building.
And Marcus, that's just so that like someone kind of, looking kind of from right to left here, someone speeding down 12th Ave going, 35 miles an hour or whatever, so that someone turning right from 33rd doesn't jump out, so that the buildings, if the building's blocking them, they don't hit them.
Correct. Okay. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the remedy that we are proposing for the situation here.
Here's a question from, I know you wanted questions at the end, but this one's just, it's timely, and it's about the paint color. Gracie's asking, so the paint in the renderings, is that what they actually are going to paint it, or is there flexibility there?
There's flexibility there. It's very rare that they change the color on the building at this point. Is it just because does someone not like the color, or? But our urban design team, that's what they approved. So if they wanted to change the color, they could ask us if they change the color. We'd review that. That's something minor in most cases. So depending on what the colors are, I doubt that we'd be opposed. But I'm not aware of them wanting to change the color.
Yeah, the reason I say it is because it's the color of gentrification. Every building new that has been built in Oak Park, for the most part, has this color scheme that just smacks of gentrification. So that's my reason for asking if there's going to be a color change, just to let you know.
Okay, that's yeah, I'm glad you did let me know. That's interesting. Okay, all right. We'll get back to this. Let me finish up a few other things I did want to point out. So, because I know this is the project that I think you are most concerned with this evening. But one thing I did want to bring to your attention, the upcoming project here is the Oak Park Association has been sent this historic resource evaluation for review, and this I'll go to the next slide here. Give an idea of where this is located at. So this is at 2832 34th Street. Most of you might be familiar with the building, the church here, and then the parking lot adjacent to that. So historic evaluations are done when it's not clear if an older building that could have historical significance is on the registry, or should it be eligible for the registry? Is it listed? And so what we've asked the inquirer on this property, who's looking maybe to do some development, they may ask to, usually when this is done, it's either because they may want to demolish it, they may want to keep the building but do some renovations to it. So we have to determine whether it's historic or not. And so we've, as a courtesy, we've sent this to your neighborhood association so that you can review it too and give comment. And so this is an important junction, because One thing I did want to talk about as far as housing now, and once again, some of you here might be familiar with this, but the state has, to encourage housing, the state has a process, what we call ministerial housing permits. This is for usually for multifamily. And so the way that works is there's the city has its own, Sacramento has its own ministerial process, and there's the state process. But in both cases, basically, if you meet the standards that are set, and these are objective standards, we cannot deny it. So it's not discretionary, it's just ministerial. And the only chance then that neighbors and communities have is when we do reach out to you and we let you know about something that's before the project's going to happen. Once they file and submit that, we do route to neighborhood associations. Just to be honest, unless the association says it's not meeting this objective standard, then that's really about as far as much say as they have as far as the project itself. So this is just kind of a heads up that your association may want to, not may, but you should read that historic evaluation, see what the findings were on that, and then be aware for an upcoming proposal if this the potential applicant chooses to go forward on this project.
And Marcus, does that mean that they're suggesting to tear it down? Is that what they're doing?
Not necessarily. Once again, a historic evaluation needs to be done if you do want to tear it down, or if you do want to keep that building, but let's just say you want to change something on the exterior or modify it in any type of way. If it is either eligible to be a historic resource, or in this case, that would be the case because we know it's not on the registry. They have to then get that approval. So that's why they do a historic evaluation.
I'm sorry, I missed what's being proposed, or is this just the initial review process of this building? And can you tell me quickly, when was it built?
Oh, it was, I believe it's in the 1920s, and it was first a Mormon Latter-day Saints church. Yeah, so that
and again, I'm sorry, what was being proposed here?
Nothing's being proposed yet. Nothing formally has been proposed. There's been I've had some inquiries over the last year and a half for putting housing on this site. There's been an inquiry one time to reuse this building here. So once again, I think their initial exploration is what is the status of this building. And to us, that means that they're looking at doing some type of development here, potentially in their future. And so once again, that's why we've, as a courtesy, sent it to the Oak Park Neighborhood Association to read the historic evaluation so that it's on your radar.
You have a raised hand from Henry.
Okay. Go ahead, Henry.
Hi, just real quick. So just to summarize, we're looking at a old church and some compliance issues in regards to some of the property, the building facing out to the sidewalk, right? Where I guess, is that what we're talking about? And then maybe exploring creative ways to trim it down if we have to, or tear it down. And then another thing I'm hearing is it's open for proposals. Is it or is it not, for community proposals to propose of what that community in that area would like to see instituted there, as opposed to the common usual folks, the good old boys that always decide for our people what should be, right? So is there going to be a contact or a process in which our community people folks can submit their proposals in accordance to their needs in that community? You guys just didn't hear me.
So I do have to apologize here. You're at least on my end, it was very choppy, so I couldn't really make out what you said. So I'm gonna go with what I think your questions are, and then maybe someone here in the group can tell me the parts I might have missed. So one thing I think I heard you ask is regarding the 3301 building. If we're looking at ways to rectify the situation, which could include, chopping the building some or reducing the massing of the building. I think that's what you were asking. So the answer on that is no. We're not looking for proposals on that. Like I said, we're not going to ask the developer to be honest, I don't think we'd have to, it'd be a legal issue and I'm not a lawyer, but I could say with pretty much confidence, we'd probably lose that battle. So we're not going to ask them to shop the building. But we do feel that the traffic division does feel that the no right turn on red is definitely a way to address that potential conflict there that could happen if someone made that turn. The other question you had regarding proposals, I think, go ahead. Sounds like you want to explain on
well,
that.
Yeah. No, I was proposing
Henry, your phone's not working, honey. Henry, your phone's not working. It's not working. It sounds very muddled as if you're underwater.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute Henry for now and encourage him to
discuss in regards to some of those areas, but I think you clarified it. Now it's just the space is there. From what I also heard of, it's not working.
Yeah, Henry, it's pretty choppy. So if you could just enter your question in the chat, that'd be preferred.
That'd be good.
Okay. Can you hear me
Sorry about that.
now?
It's still pretty choppy.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good idea that Adrian had. Henry, can you just put it in the chat and then I'll look for it there. I thought I saw another hand. That was it Michael Blair's hand. I saw it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Two quick questions. One is the 3301 location. You said that basically the stripes on the ground were kind of missed, right? And that's what caused the building to be put so close to the street. I want you to help me understand that, because I know, every time something is missed like that, whenever it happens in a neighborhood like this, I always kind of question. It makes me, raise the eyebrow. Sometimes the certain level of care and attention isn't put into places like Oak Park. Whereas, I always go to East Sac because everything out there is nice and beautiful, right? But they will give them a little bit more attention, care, and things, pan out the way they're supposed to. But sometimes that doesn't happen in Oak Park. So I want you to be able to just give a little bit more clarity on how that happened, what was missed in the process. And then also I have one other quick question I don't know if you're familiar with Senate bills Sb9 and Sb10. Okay, and so maybe talk about how those play a part in how we're probably going to see a lot more properties very close to the sidewalks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sure. So I'll start from the top. So normally what we want to see either on the planning, what we would call the architectural drawings, or for sure on the construction drawings, especially when you're proposing a building that close to the to the back of the sidewalk there on the corner, and you have that street section, we'd want to see the crosswalk and the limit line on there. That wasn't on there, and so that's something that, once again, planning should have called out, and public works should have called that out too, especially at the construction stage, construction document review stage. That should have been too.
And so I'm sorry that the developer was supposed to put that on there,
right,
and they didn't, right?
Correct.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
But like I said, just putting it out there for everyone, still the city staff should have been something that wasn't on there. We should have asked for it. Also, we have a site, what's called a site triangle. It's a more layman's term. And that triangle, usually we would ask for that on there too. Just imagine like a pie shape, and it just shows, there should be a distance of clear vision on there. And that wasn't put on the plans as well. So
what did you, I'm sorry, can you tell me what you called those lines? You actually had a name for the lines and I missed that.
for the limit line.
Okay.
Yeah. So the limit line is where you're supposed to, almost no one does this, but that first line, that limit line is where you're supposed to stop.
Okay.
And then you can creep up to the crosswalk line. So
okay, great.
No, you can't creep.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you can. But if you can go right on red, you do go up. If there's no right on red, then you can't creep up.
Yeah.
So what would be the process for remedy after the fact? Is there an additional amount of insurance they could be required to hold? Because it's an accident waiting to happen. It's inevitable. It's just a matter of when at this point. So what's the remedy after the fact? Is if we can't get them to tear the building down and have it be more compliant to what it should have been, what's the recourse now that it's there?
Well, I believe that, so the traffic department, their view is that putting the no right turn on red, if people follow that, then there shouldn't be an accident. If you don't follow that, then yeah, there could be an accident.
Right. We could just assume that even if 50% of the people followed the sign, it's an accident waiting to happen. The average person is going to turn anyway. I mean, that's why all of our insurance premiums are so high.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know I don't know what to say to that. If we can't, the city can't, if people aren't going to obey traffic laws and traffic signals, there's not much the city can do on that.
Got it. So just so that I'm understanding you clearly, so the remedy in having it being missed or not properly being represented in the plans, the remedy would be for the city to put a sign out. There's no recourse against the builder, developer with regard to insurance and things of that nature should there be an accident that takes place there. The remedy is only adding the no turn on right.
I don't like answering a question with a question, or a statement, but the remedy won't be for us to ask the developer to modify the building.
Thank you.
Wondering if, I mean, maybe this isn't feasible, but like building out the sidewalk a little bit more or something, like, is that even, it's already kind of tight, but is that even a possibility? Like, you know how some buildings like on corners have a little bit of a plaza, or they have a little bit more space. So I'm wondering if you can kind of make up for that space. Maybe they could pay for it, like bump it out a little bit.
So bumping that corner out then, so now you're taking the city street section and you're narrowing that street section. That probably creates a whole nother host of problems.
Marcus, just as a follow-up, is for residents like us who are obviously concerned and feel like the remedy doesn't really go deep enough, what's our recourse or our steps to address to the city? Of course, we could connect with our council member, but is there a specific route that we would go through the planning department? What would you suggest?
You could, if you want to suggest a different remedy, you could go through myself, especially since we're having this meeting. I could bring that forward to our traffic department. That could be that.
Okay. Okay. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna finish because you still had a second question I didn't get to, but go ahead.
Sure. So more to come on that because I think some of us will probably want to follow up. So just be prepared. So thank you for that. And then yeah, that second part, if you could just speak on the SB9 and 10.
Oh right, yeah.
Thanks.
So SB had two other parts. As far as things being missed in Oak Park, whether it's for whatever reasons that may be, in this, I don't know really what to say to that. I can just say, just being, of course, I'm always concerned about the South area and Oak Park and all the neighborhoods there, and I can say that in my, since 2018, I haven't seen where plan reviews have deficiencies and they're missed more so than in the North area, for instance, or the central area. The central area, you probably just don't hear about it, but there's a lot of things that happen in central where we hear that they have quite a few complaints. And there's a lot of revisions and things that happen there in the central area. So, you know, I don't know, you know, I don't want to call it a conspiracy. I can understand why it's felt that way. And, you know, I have to say with pride, when I started with the city, I specifically asked to be in South Sacramento, supervise in South Sacramento, because I did feel that it was one of the areas that maybe wasn't getting the attention that it needed to be had. So last on Sb9 and Sb10. So Sb9, we have been getting a fair amount of applications for Sb9 in Oak Park. So Sb9, for those who aren't aware, that is, we call that you can do an urban lot split. So in other words, you can have a single family lot, and by right, you can split that into two parcels. And then you can have a unit on each parcel, and an ADU on that parcel.
Marcus, I'm sorry, is that for any size lot or it has to be a certain size?
There's a minimum. I want to say it's 3,200 square feet. I can look that up maybe tonight, but there is a minimum lot size for Sb9. Yes.
Okay.
At Sb10, so Sb10 would have allowed up to 10 units on a lot, on a single family lot. The city chose not to enact Sb10. That was voluntary. It wasn't mandatory, and we are not going to enact it.
I know one of them had a piece of it where I can't remember the distance, but they didn't have to be too far from the sidewalk. I don't know if that was 9 or 10, but it was like the offset was something like 8 feet or something really, really small.
Yeah, so Sb9, you still have to meet, especially for your, in this case, we're mostly talking about front yards. You still have to meet the setbacks. You do get a reduction on the side and rear, but not so much the front. So you couldn't go right to the back of the sidewalk like we're seeing here. That's for certain.
Okay, just want to make sure of that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So just for everybody, what that would mean is that any lot in Oak Park, folks can start to split up. And sometimes, since this is the less expensive land in town, I mean, everything's expensive right now, but some of the less expensive land here, it could have a lot of traffic and folks interested in doing that. And that will increase density, which is good for housing. But at the same time, you start to lose a lot of the look, the charm, the parking availability, and you know, there's some negative and positive that comes along with that. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware.
I have questions, hand raises from Allegra and then Bishop Chris Baker.
Go ahead,
So
Allegra.
I'm just puzzled. So the city is aware there's a problem. The builders are aware that there's a problem. And so we're just gonna let this proceed without fixing the problem. And then does that mean that the city and or the builders are gonna be prepared for suit? Because I believe that it would make the city as well as the builders liable. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, that's sort of getting to a legal question, so I'm not going to. I can't really respond to that because I don't want to give a legal opinion, not being a lawyer. And I probably reiterated this, 5 times already, and I guess so. I would say, as of now, our remedy, we believe, does address potential traffic or safety issue if people abide by the traffic signal.
Well, we'll make sure we invite you to the first meeting on the first accident, okay? Because I'm gonna bring this question back to you when that occurs, because it's almost inevitable that is gonna occur. So I just want to make sure that this is part of record. I'm so glad this is being recorded, because I'm gonna bring this back to you the first time that there's an accident on that street. I don't care if you got a sign up or whatever, a light or whatever you're gonna do. You guys basically proceeded with a project with knowing there's a problem. That's just unacceptable. Would this go through if it was in Land Park? That's my next question.
Absolutely not.
So let's go to Chris next.
That's a negative, sir.
Hey, Marcus, you said this was done before you came, and the original plans, the limit lines, if I'm correct, wasn't included.
The limit line and the crosswalk striping weren't on the plans. Were on the plans, correct? Yeah, it's right around, like I said, it might have been right before it came or right when I came, but yeah.
So would it be safe to say that both parties overlooked it mistakenly? Would it be safe to say that that's a mistake they made and now they're realizing, uh-oh, we didn't give this further review? Because I don't want to get into the point where we're pointing fingers at each other, but there is a big concern, and I know the developer is willing to sit down and do whatever he can to rectify it.
Yeah, I think we have the developer here tonight, or a representative with the developer. So
he was in Madeira. I don't know if he's on here. I've been looking.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been. I didn't go to the site last week when I was out and about, so I don't know where they're at on their construction. I mean, by no means will we say the developer said, "Hey, let me, do something with the building." Of course, we would not be opposed to that.
Okay. Okay.
We have a hand raised from Dimitri.
Okay. Kind of following up on what Mr. Blair said, Marcus, are there provisions for the parking component or the impact to parking that this would have? Just off the top of your head, do you know if that's a component here?
So is there, ask that question is regarding the parking?
Yeah, I mean, related to SB9 or 10, I mean, Michael brought up a good point about its impact to density, and that would obviously impact parking, but do you know just right now, is that being considered?
Oh, no.
Or is that a provision of it?
No, so SB9, since it's a state, since it was mandated by the state, the ordinance, cities have to abide by the ordinance. So if they would still, if you had a parcel, so if you split one parcel and then you split it into two, they still have to meet the parking requirement. They still have to provide a parking space.
Ah, okay. All right. Thank you.
So we have Manuel.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I just joined in on this discussion a little while ago, so just forgive me. I'm just totally perplexed with the whole design of this building. It's on 12th Avenue and 33rd. I live on 10th Avenue. I'm 42 years old. I've lived on 10th Avenue for 42 years. I live next door to where I grew up. Bought the house next door to my mom. I'm an Oak Park native, and just like the rest of my entire family. And we turn at this intersection daily, and it is just unbelievable that they can design a building this flawed, this close to the street. I mean, I questioned on the chat, has Bimbo Bakery been invited to this discussion? I mean, I can imagine just a regular car, but how can a big rig making a turn there see anything at all? And with how the people drive in this intersection, like some of the people have said before, it is inevitable an accident is going to happen there. I have seen some of the most just horrible accidents at this intersection without that building there. And to put that building there is just, obviously, either someone doesn't care or they have no understanding of what they've done. And like some of the people have said before, it's not a question of if, it's just when. Because without that building there, there's a little hill from the traffic that comes from Martin Luther King. and you can't fully see the traffic coming without that building there. And now with that building there, it is just totally a blind spot. I mean, it's people run that red light all the time. And I just hope the powers that be and everyone can just put their minds together, their thoughts together to try to get a solution to this, because I mean, it's just, like we said, it's not if, but when. And that's my opinion. Thank you.
Hey, I just want to say real quick, that was some real stuff, and I think it's really important that we consider that as we're speaking. I got in a wreck, not right, like literally like about a block from there, because 2 lanes go into one as you're turning from MLK. They go into one, and I got a wreck probably like about a block away from there. And that building right there, it's always looked awkward. I pass by that all the time, and I'm like, it's like you're trying to force some type of business building up in the community. That's a community. Oak Park's a community, right? Like there's that's a housing community, right? And you're trying to force a business, like you got to put that more on a Main Street area. Like if you want to build something, build some housing, build some duplex, but those little gaps right there, that's a liability for anybody that opens up a contract under that building. Anybody that gets hurt is going to get sued up in that building, and it's like it's not even worth investing in, because there's a lot of liability issues. You know what I mean? Get along some ADA issues, and you know, like that light again, that same light, it only lasts like sometimes. One time I was tripped out, it only lasted like 3 or 5 seconds. I'm like, what the hell, man? That you know, so that light also needs to be evaluated right now, because we have a lot of young people going to that little market down there, and it's just a big liability all the way around. It's better to take a small loss now than continue taking big losses in the long run once you go full force on the project.
Thanks, Henry. So it sounds like we can have further conversation with the city about it. It sounds like we can have some further conversation with Bandel Construction about it. I don't know. And Bimbo I think that's a really good point. You know, they're power users of that intersection. But yeah, I don't see an easy fix for this. And it seems really odd that, you know, if a developer does something it messes up, basically if they mess up, you know, it's odd that there isn't recourse for that at the city level.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to understand if let's say, if the building was set back, let's just say, I don't know, 10 feet from the back of the sidewalk, the thought is then that people would drive up to the limit line, they'd look, they'd see then that there's not traffic coming, and then they'd make that right against the red, because there's right now you can do that. So they would just make that, and so that would be safe. Whereas if there's a no right on red, they can't turn, so they have to stop. They have to wait for it to turn green to make that right. I guess I'm maybe missing.
I think the issue is that the analogy and the logic that's being applied to it now is to assume that everybody's going to follow the law. That's number one. Number two, when you're about to make a turn and you can't see, it's human nature to creep your car up a bit to make sure that you're not going to be turning into someone running a red light or something of that nature. The further out the building is, the more instinctual it is for a driver to have to creep up past the line innately.
Yeah, no, I get it. I agree. And I agree with that. I'm not a traffic engineer, but I just don't know what they do for people who aren't going to abide by the traffic signal. I just don't know. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like I said, what the developer has to say.
Marcus, additionally, one thing to add is just that in a neighborhood like ours, where there's, you know, the illegal dumping, the boarded up homes, the abandoned cars, and just a lot of plight and folks that can't really keep up their homes, we're really into beautification wherever we can find it. So yeah, this will be a nice new building, but it just looks weird. I mean, it's just the looks of it, right? It's right on the street, and it just looks odd. So that doesn't help the situation. I mean, even though the building's new, it just kind of stands out and just looks strange. And that's in a, really an entry point of Oak Park. So it's not just the safety, which I think is the most important piece, but then it's just the look and feel of it as well.
Right. And I know we all don't want to beat a dead horse here, and we should, could probably wrap this section up, but I think there's something to be said for what Michael started off saying with how does something like this happen in this area? As a multi-homeowner in the neighborhood and a developer, I was given hell by the city on a roof color or a paint color. So this kind of oversight, I just don't see how it happens. And the recourse is just, well, we'll live with it because they already bought some wood. There has to be another option. And we can all continue to explore that as owners in the area. But just to take it and say, well, they're so far into development, they have insurance, they have things for oversights of this nature. And it's not, all's not lost. There is an opportunity for them to rectify it beyond a traffic sign. That's the last of my 2 cents. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Marcus, for hearing from us and hearing from neighbors about the development. It's been a point of contention in the neighborhood for quite a while. Another photo that I know I shared and that folks have talked about, and I don't want to get into the the MLK Broadway intersection conversation, because that's a conversation we've had at a recent meeting. But there's also some new condos going in along Broadway between MLK and Stockton. I shouldn't say condos, but duplexes. And those are also pretty close. And so just wondering, it sounds like the new normal is for homes to be built like this to maximize space, right? And so just wondering, maybe your comments on that in terms of maybe what we should be proactive about as neighbors in terms of just trying to ensure safety elsewhere in the neighborhood.
Yeah, well, I would say definitely for OPNA that when you do get routed plans, take a good look at them. Feel free to, to email me or call me. And if there is a concern, even if it might seem like, nah, we're not sure, it's better to just, hit me up and find out early on in the process than not. So there's that. As a city, as far as our design standards and our objectives, like I said, we do try to we rather have buildings fronting streets than parking lots for just multiple reasons. We feel you're talking about aesthetics. We feel it's a more aesthetic pleasing look than having a parking lot in the front. But definitely safety is first and foremost. And, just quite honestly, the city is not in the business of wanting to have accidents or things like that happen. So obviously that's a concern for us too, our first concern. Before we end it though, I did want to say, because I know that Chris is here. So another project that we do have is a UOP. They're doing a big project for rezoning. And Chris was kind enough to meet with city staff and one of your board members. So just wanted to give a shout out to him. We expressed our concern about UOP being more involved with the community and see if we can do some things. So he'll be working with us in planning and with your organization too. So, but that's another project. If you walk around UOP, you see some of the signs are up now. So that's another thing. When you see development signs, take note. And if you don't see the plans, just once again, hey, Marcus, what's going on here? Share with us what you have. So.
Well, thanks for mentioning the development plans for McGeorge. Chris, while we have you on the line, so we had you in March at our March meeting, and you talked about all about the UOP campus in Oak Park and all the new programming and construction plans. But any updates between March and June you'd like to share?
Yeah, well, appreciate the opportunity, and I'm so glad I made this meeting to hear all of the concerns regarding the development on the 12th and 34th Street. And it's concerns that I definitely will take back to my design firms and partners and share with them, the issues with sightlines and traffic visions, so forth and that. We'll make sure that we have a civil plan that properly shows, that those traffic sight lines and turning radiuses and parking, so forth and so on. I know that the project will be very attentive to city ordinances as it relates to setbacks. Right now, we're taking the proper steps forward to, zone the property appropriately for, a new academic building that would, again, meet with city codes and ordinances. And we'll do our best to not step in any buckets that, we would have to take any steps backwards to try and correct. We know the city's been a good steward so far of other projects that we've had, and we see no reason why we wouldn't be working closely with them to try to avoid any of these types of situations where, again, it would turn into a legal issue, and we don't want that for the university. And we definitely, don't want that for the city or the neighborhood. So we're early in the process. We've recently hired our design firms. We're organizing programming meetings, calling together stakeholders, both internally and I think soon externally. But we're just not there yet. We're actually in the second week of programming, and that's a 12-week process. And then we probably will be in schematic design for another 14 weeks beyond that. So we're anxious to develop some conceptual drawings, share those with the jurisdictions having authority, listen intently to their comments and response comments. And again, we plan on reaching out to the community, talking with Oak Park Neighborhood Association, maybe presenting to them again, as I mentioned in our earlier meeting, that we would like another opportunity to bring some concepts to you and introduce you to our design partners, and again, hopefully walk into those waters slowly so everybody has the time to review and comment. We're very excited about the project, and I appreciate the opportunity tonight to provide an update.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a great way to build trust with a community, to offer them the ability to provide feedback, the ability maybe even to ask them, hey, what color should this be? It really does, I think, create buy-in. So we're excited to hear more. I see Eric has his hand up.
Yeah, thanks. I've got a design question. And it seems to apply a lot in Oak Park and in Midtown. So Oak Park is a neighborhood that I think goes back to about 1905. And I apologize if I'm wrong on that. And then seems to have been built out, in the late 30s, late 1940s. And yet so many of the new structures that go up seem to, ultimately they look kind of like a lot of the buildings that were put up in the middle of blocks in the 1960s in Midtown, amongst all the bungalow streets. And they look pretty jarring. Do you know, design-wise, is there any thought of building something that actually fits into the historic nature of Oak Park?
Anybody have comments on that? Or is that for Chris, Eric?
Yeah,
For Chris or me?
Yeah, either one, whoever give me a thought on that.
Well, I'll take a quick stab at it, because I don't want this meeting to turn about into a conversation about University of the Pacific. But we have architectural standards that we try to design by. I know our Stockton campus, has probably a more developed standard and guideline as it relates to Gothic collegiate sort of structures. We rely heavily on brick and stone to align with the other structures that have been there since the 1920s. I would suspect that in our campus in Oak Park, as many of you see, there's a brick and sort of that Gothic collegiate sort of feel on that campus as well, although it's only 13 acres compared to the 175 acres we have in Stockton. We I think do a great job of remaining consistent and using, again, a very consistent sort of standard. So although we haven't even gotten close to talking about material finishes, either exterior or interior, I know we are talking about some exciting sustainable ways of building. Mass timber is one of those superstructures that I personally have done a lot of investigating with. I think it's a wonderful way to build that's carbon neutral. It starts to set a path towards a net zero goal that a lot of us have in design and planning. It's built with wood, which gives a beautiful tone and feel on the inside of the building. And I think it would go very nicely with the other structures that we have on the campus. Again, I haven't gotten into exterior facades and materials, but I could guarantee you that we don't want the building to stand out and be an eyesore. We definitely want it to be a jewel on that campus and in Oak Park, something that we can all be proud of, that again creates a campus community and sort of is a jewel for our School of Health Sciences and our School of Dentistry.
Thank you. And then Marcus.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
thanks for the response.
All right. Marcus, do you have just a brief response to that as well?
I can give a brief response on that one. So our preservation historic planners, they always remind staff that it's never encouraged to try to replicate old traditional styles, even if they are classic. So going back to kind of like the historic buildings. Rather, though, what we look to do with developers is to have, and Chris actually kind of touched on this, you can kind of replicate the massing, maybe some elements, porches, for instance. One of the proposals for the site that I was talking about, the church site there, that was brought before me last year. I had mentioned to them they were looking at doing some multifamily, and I said, there's some definitive styles here in Oak Park, and if you could incorporate that in, whether it's some what we call step up stoops or porches, you could do that. So there are ways that you can get some of that flavor without actually trying to reproduce a Gothic or a Queen Anne or what have you type of a style. So basically materials, architectural details and elements, and massing.
So basically that means replicating the existing architecture is off the table as far as the city is concerned?
You could do that. It really would just, it depend on what they're trying to replicate. So
I'm curious why that's discouraged though.
Well, usually when they try to replicate it, they're trying to replicate something. Let's just say, I'll just use once again a Queen Anne Victorian. It doesn't have the authenticity that that's what architects would say, and they'll say it doesn't work. So that's why we don't encourage it. And that's getting more into just architecture. But if someone wanted to do that, they could submit it, but it's not encouraged.
And there's also the cost factor. As a developer, I'm not a big developer like, McGeorge or anything of that nature, but material costs have changed. And I think you're going to see more designs in keeping with like the design of groundeds building that's made from shipping containers. That stuff is economical. You can build great housing from it. And I know that the last time I took plans to the city in terms of keeping with what was in the neighborhood, I was asked to go and photograph other similar projects that look like mine in the neighborhood. So I think there's a happy medium, a way to keep the character of the communities, but also encourage developers to come and want to invest in the community without feeling like they have to go broke to do it.
Yeah. So we do need to move on to community announcements. So appreciate the questions. Just want to note, some affordable housing chat going on in the chat. Absolutely need more affordable housing. I think we can all agree on that. Just note there are a couple big affordable housing programs going into Oak Park. One is an expansion of the arbors going in at the south part of 39th and Broadway. That's going to be many affordable senior housing units, just like the current arbors, which is great. And then there is also a affordable housing, I believe it's also for seniors, project going in near, is it 8th and Stockton? It is not the one at 9th and 10th in Stockton. It is the one at 8th and Stockton behind the school. Marcus?
Yeah, I think you're talking about the Gateway project.
I'm not talking about the Gateway. It's the Gateway's at 9th and 10th. There is a separate, and Jasleen may know the name of it. But yeah, there's a separate one going in there. I think it's 60 something affordable housing units for seniors.
I'm trying to remember which one you're talking about. But.
So anyway, wanted to make sure as folks are chatting, I'll find a link to that and I'll share it with you all. But wanted to make sure we go into community announcements. I know folks have a lot to share. So I think Michael, I was going to give Michael Blair the floor first, and then Jasleen with Jay Shanier's office, and then the NeighborWorks folks, and then others.
Thank you, sir. All right, let me see if I can share this. This is called Creative Exchange, and it happens once a year. And this is an event where, if anybody knows Jay King, he's Club Nouveau, the song Rumors, Lean on Me, anyway, some R&B hits that he's written and been involved with that group and others. And so anyway, once a year he throws what's called Creative Exchange. And this is a place where different artists, music, film, they basically bring their products and they'll get reviewed by industry professionals. So he flies out his professional friends, they become panelists, and then they're able to review and give critiques, that kind of thing. So we're going to have that happening at McGeorge School of Law. This is from 8 to 3 this coming Saturday. And then along with that, let's see if I can get to this next. There we go. All right. So along with that, we have the Battle of the Barbershops. So this is really cool. This has happened in years past at Mcclatchy Park, but I think with the pandemic and other reasons, they kind of shut it down a while back, but now it's back. And so different barbershops will come, they'll compete against one another, just a whole bunch of fun out there. And then that's from 1 to 3. And then in the actual park itself, we have some things planned, which is, a kids zone, different vendors, and some dance competitions, different things like that. So just trying to make it an overall festive event for the family. Also, let me back up with Creative Exchange. They're not only doing the music stuff, but they're also doing some financial literacy training for folks who want to learn more about NFTs and crypto and that kind of stuff. They were trying to really expand and make it kind of have something for everybody and meet the needs of families in multiple different ways. So that's all happening this Saturday. And if anybody wants more information, just let me know. I'll stop sharing. Okay. Cool.
Jasleen.
Thank you, Adrian. Can I share my screen or no?
Should be able to.
You can if I say so. And
Please,
I'm about
Michael.
to say so. Here you go. Hold
Okay, thank you. Give me 1 second. Let's see. I'm not getting the option. It's okay if not.
No, let me try it again. Yeah, I made you co-host, so you should be
I
good.
saw. I'm just wondering why it won't.
And as you're talking, maybe I'll see. This is for movie night, right?
Oh, yep. And seed grants.
Oh, okay. I'll see if I can pull up the movie night one.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, you
I got
got
it, Michael.
Okay,
I have
cool.
the other one, and I'm just pulling up our newsletter, so it should be
All right,
fine.
great.
Okay, can you guys see the seed grant flyer?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So a lot of you are familiar, and for those of you who attended our neighborhood leaders meeting last week, thank you so much for being there, and you already knew this was coming. So every year our office does our seed grants, which is basically just us trying to support the neighborhoods and doing different projects. A lot of those involve, community beautification projects. Some of them are more capacity building focused and revolve more around the neighborhood association and building capacity around that. That can involve things like paying a graphic designer to create a logo, or sorry, I'm blanking. Creating a website, things like that. We have more information on the actual application of different projects that have been funded through the seed grants. So that's open. That's actually live as of today. And that went out in our newsletter. If you're not signed up or you want that information, I'll drop my information in the chat in just a second. And I'll go ahead and make sure that you have that. But that is grants, one-time grants up to $1,000. It does get a little competitive, so just apply as soon as you can. And they'll close at the end of June. And then this year, we normally actually group together our National Night Out grants with the seed grants, but this year we're actually doing them differently so that you can kind of not have to sacrifice your seed grant on National Night Out. So if you're doing a National Night Out, go ahead and apply through the link here, and we will go ahead and get $250 grants out to you. And we can either refund if things have already been purchased, things like that, and Ulysses in our office can go over that. He's our finance guy. But yeah, so those are two really awesome grant opportunities that I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of. I don't want to keep you guys too long, but if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And if you have a seed grant idea, or want to take advantage of the opportunity, but you're not sure quite how to do that, we're also happy to sit down and brainstorm and kind of come up with an idea with you. So the money's there. We want to give it to you. Just come talk to us. And then I'm going to scroll down here in our newsletter to our movie night. So you guys are actually our first movie night of the summer. So we're really, really excited. I'm glad it's not going to rain on Saturday. So it's going to be following the events that Michael spoke about. So really excited. We're going to be playing Space Jam, like always, completely free. We'll have popcorn and waters, and it'll be at the park at sunset. So I think it's typically around 7-ish we get started. So yeah, we're really excited about it. And then again, we have Michael's events down here. So if you have any questions about any of these things, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or anyone in our office. But that's all I've got, Adrian.
Thank you. Let's go to the NeighborWorks folks.
Thank you, Adrian. I just wanted to thank everyone for allowing us to be here today. It's been our pleasure to be here. Thanks Shandina and Crystal and Allegra with the Village, one of our in-kind ambassadors. I also wanted to say that we look forward to seeing you all at our farmers market, which we mentioned previously. And many of you may not know who NeighborWorks Sacramento is, but we've been in the community for 30 years. The face, look, and feel of NeighborWorks is changing, but our commitment to the community is not. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris has his hand raised, and feel free if you have an announcement to raise your hand or post it in the chat.
One more thing, Adrian. I just wanted to thank Marcus. I know this probably wasn't an easy meeting for him to endure all of these questions. So thank you for your patience with us. I appreciate that personally. Thank you.
Can I piggyback on that? Because Marcus, I was waiting to do the same thing. You were in the hot seat, sir, and you represented well. So thank you for all that. And don't be afraid to come back either.
Ditto. Ditto from the Village.
No problem. As they say, it's not personal, it's business. So that's fine. And I like to hear people vent because that gives me just the insight. I'm definitely a community type guy. So feel free to reach out. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Once again, I'm all ears, and I want the same things you all want. So yeah, let's continue to work together. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris.
Can I speak now, or?
Please.
I have a question for farmers market. Why did it change to Sunday and did not stay with Saturday?
NeighborWorks Sacramento has several other communities that we also serve, and over the past couple of years, that has not been fulfilled. So we are doing community cleanups and other activities in those other communities. And so in order to continue to provide a farmers market in your neighborhood, as well as branch into some of the other neighborhoods who also are looking for those same services, we've moved over to a Sunday opportunity to be able to create a family-oriented opportunity. And we are so excited to have the support of the Oak Park neighborhood and the surrounding areas.
So that didn't answer my question. I asked, why did it change to Sunday?
Let me see if I can help clarify that for you, sir. This is Loretta Casimir, the board president. The best way to simplify it is that NeighborWorks is not just responsible for Oak Park. We serve 11 counties, and we wanted to make sure that we honored our commitment to NeighborWorks and keeping a market at all, period. Since we are the ones that are financially backing the market and sponsoring the market, NeighborWorks in general. So in order for us to honor our commitment to the community and have a market at all, we needed to move that market to Sunday so that we could also fulfill our obligations to the other 11 counties we serve.
So all of them are Sunday?
No, yours is the only one that's on Sunday at this time, because yours is also the only one that's every single weekend for 6 months.
Okay.
That helped to better answer your question?
Yeah, it sounds like it's more feasible to have it on Sunday.
It's definitely more feasible.
Okay, that answered it. Thank you.
No problem.
Chris and Loretta and Shandinia. Barbara and then Gracie. Oh, and a quick comment. Jasleen messaged me. There's also free pool days at Mcclatchy. Jasleen, sorry, do you want to briefly unmute yourself and say what that is?
So sorry, I blanked. We're having free pool days the opening weekend of the Mcclatchy Pool. So that's from the 17th, 18th, and 19th. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, admission will be completely free. So please use the pool. And then also on what they call family nights. So for Mcclatchy, it's the day that pools are open later. So for Mcclatchy, it is 3 to 7 p.m. on Thursdays. They will be completely free all summer as well. And we're starting off with 1 day a week just because we're really tight on staffing with lifeguards, and we want to make sure that everybody's safe and that we're doing everything correctly. But we'll start off with 1 day a week, and then depending on demand and things like that and how much the pool is being used, as long as we have the lifeguards, we're more than happy to fund it. So let us know if you guys like that, but wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that those will be free.
Thanks. Barbara.
I just wanted to do a quick shout out for, because I see there's so many people, not just from the Oak Park community, but from adjacent communities, neighborhoods. The Stockton Boulevard Partnership meets the first Thursday of every month at noon. It's called Safety on Stockton. And a big swath of Stockton Boulevard cuts through Oak Park. And it would behoove anyone who wants to attend, and they also provide lunch for free. It's just an hour, but all of the different city, police, highway patrol, UC Davis, the different council districts, supervisors are usually there, district attorney, they talk about all kinds of things. And I think it's really important that more people attend this meeting to find out about everything that is happening and changing on Stockton Boulevard, especially in the way of Aggie Square and new housing and so on and so forth. So if you go to the Stockton Boulevard Partnership website, you can find the information, or you can get in touch with me and I'll let you know. But that was why I was here today. So I really want to encourage more people to attend that meeting.
Thanks.
Gracie. Especially people running for politics.
Adrian, this is Michael Benjamin, Adrian.
Hey, let's go to Gracie first, then you, Mike.
All right.
Sorry, I guess a politician speaking here. This is just notice the federal health officials are recommending that people mask up indoors in Sacramento County. And I guess today we moved to the high level. So what's important for me is to make sure that our families know, our parents of our students at Sacramento City Unified School District are aware that notice should be going out soon. Yes, I'm jumping the gun, But we would like all of our students to wear masks to school. There might be a firm date of it starting on Monday, but as of now, we're going to send out a notice to get it started tomorrow. So that's just my note from SCUSD. Thanks, y'all.
You, Trustee Phillips.
Trouble, Philip, trouble.
Mike.
Yeah, so thank you all for attending. And Marcus, thank you. You already know, we done went out there and walked that thing. So you got my concerns first person. I want to just welcome you all too, and just say, this is a shameless plug. Please look to donate to Oak Park Cares. We have a program that provides almost immediate help for bill assistance. And so thank y'all for coming. And please donate to Oak Park Cares. Thank you.
You have made more than 50 contributions to neighbors in the form of $200 checks to the Oak Park Cares program. So really, really do appreciate those. And I'm going to put that in the chat. Thanks for elevating that. When we used to have these meetings at the Oak Park Community Center, we used to pass the bucket around and gather some cash, but it's been harder to do that. So we also used to feed folks. So people felt, I think, like they were getting a little something out of it. But any other announcements before we call it? All right. Well, another important one is, and I know we have people running for political office on the call, but June 7th is Tuesday, and it is the big election, is the primary election. So I see Tamika, you've raised your hand. Is that what you were going to talk about?
No, actually, I was just going to mention for the people who are talking about crosswalks, because I did notice the 12th Avenue as well, but make sure you're looking and watching the Active Transportation Commission, and you can bring those up on the items not on the agenda. And that meets every third Thursday of the month.
And I want to say something too. My next, okay. So I have my cool T-shirt that I just got, but I forgot to put on my other T-shirt. So just in case you guys were curious, let me scoot up there. Since we're talking elections, little shameless plug.
All right, and you're doing that not as an OPNA representative, just as Mr.
Not
Michael
at all.
Blair.
Just me.
Wait,
just me.
Who are you promoting?
Oh, this is just a T-shirt that I have. It's a cool T-shirt. That's all.
Ah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. So yeah, the election is June 7th. Please vote. Please vote. We actually had a candidate forum on, what was it, in early April, with all four of our District 5 council members who are all on this call. We're all at one point and may still all be here. So definitely check that recording out. You can find it on our Facebook page. Maybe I'll drop the link in the chat while we're still here, if you'd like to watch that. Nice.
Real quick, my man, we're going to have a mental health time done awareness day, right? Just to make some space for a lot of the stuff that's been going on July 23rd. We're looking at securing a space right now. If you guys got a space you guys want to collab and host, we could work something out. We got a budget. We just want to feed our people and have some conversations and just give some space to hear from their voices, what they feel is needed in the community. And lastly, if there's any context here that can help us explore the possibility of refurbishing a building out there on Stockton Boulevard to run some services, it's a collective of different orgs we want to bring together to tackle out some other community housing and issues and all kinds of other factors that are happening in South Sacramento. Please drop it on the chat, or those of you that know Allegra Taylor, please contact her or contact me at henry@prisonerswithchildren.org. That's henry@prisonerswithchildren.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Well, thanks all for a really great discussion. We're going to call it. We're a little bit over time, but we have these every Thursday of the month, 6 p.m. Again, we will see what COVID's looking like. If Trustee Phillips is right, maybe this will be via Zoom again on July 7th at 6 p.m., but we'll keep you posted. And really look forward to continuing this conversation with you all. So again, vote on Tuesday, and we'll see you on the 7th of July.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, y'all.
Bye.
Peace, everybody.